Raymund Paredes is the first Latino to serve as the Commissioner of Higher Education and CEO of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. He is the fifth commissioner since the Coordinating Board was created in 1965 by the Texas Legislature to represent the highest authority in matters of public higher education. He is also the longest-sitting higher education executive officer in the nation. He has held this position with great dedication and distinction for 15 years and recently announced his resignation. Prior to Raymond joining the Coordinating Board in July 2004, much of the discussion in Texas and the nation was about student access to higher education. However, Texas's Higher Education Strategic Plan launched in 2000, closing the gaps by 2015, gave Raymond the platform to effectively communicate the importance of both access and success to policymakers and educational leaders. This ultimately led to the Texas Legislature appropriating millions of dollars to the Coordinating Board over the years to implement statewide student success initiatives, which have had a lasting effect on student success. It also contributed to surpassing the state's completion goal under the Closing the Gaps plan. Raymond has had many other accomplishments during his tenure. This includes the nurturing of a strong partnership among the Coordinating Board, the Texas Education Agency, and the Texas Workforce Commission. This partnership is largely the result of Raymond's realization that Texas higher education cannot accomplish its goals without the help of these agencies and sectors. Governor Greg Abbott formalized the partnership in the Tri-Agency Workforce Initiative to achieve the goals of the state's Higher Education Strategic Plan, 60 by 30 Texas, providing a pipeline from public education to higher education to the workforce. Raymond's other notable accomplishments include reinventing developmental education, launching the Texas Higher Education Almanac to make Coordinating Board data accessible to policymakers and to the public, reforming and expanding state financial aid to serve more poor students and improve their outcomes, and spearheading and expanding the Texas Affordable Baccalaureate Program, a revolutionary low-cost alternative to the traditional bachelor's degree. So how does one summarize the 15 years of tireless public service to the great state of Texas? Raymond-isms.
Well, a Raymond-ism is, for anybody who's been around Raymund Paredes, are these phrases that come out of his mouth from time to time. In fact, with quite regularity. And they come out and they're important because they summarize issues and points of view that really encapsulate what is really a complex area, that is higher education. Probably an example, I've testified with Raymond in Senate committees or interim committees, and we would divide our testimony so that I'd take one part, he'd take another. And I thought I was pretty well prepared until there was like some other politician with some other issue that would ask a question that I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way I could answer that question. And so Raymond would answer it beautifully. But always within that answer, there was a Raymond-ism. As an example, telling a politician, well, we're not going to ask the legislature, and he'd kind of point his finger, for more money without producing better results. That's a Raymond-ism.
Dan Branch was chairman of the Higher Ed Committee in the House, and hearing one day Raymond and some of the staff were present, and he made the comment that we're doing better, fine, but if we're not doing it fast enough, then that's a problem. And Raymond picked up on that, and it became a Raymond-ism for sure. Closing the Gaps was all about access and success, and Raymond implemented that policy. We had high expectations when we hired him. But he's far exceeded that. His passion and leadership and heart for people, particularly first generation, because his family was first generation. He was raised in El Paso, Texas, above a bakery. Mom and Dad did not go to college, and it came across in that interview process of selecting him, and certainly after he was hired, that his passion for the opportunity he had and his parents had given him, he wanted that opportunity for every kid in the state of Texas, regardless of their economic or socioeconomic background or where they were from.
Raymond has coined the term post-traditional students to describe those who are typically older, less affluent, and less familiar with the nuances of higher education than their predecessors. These students have vastly different experiences and require vastly different supports. He has repeatedly said that higher education must reinvent itself to effectively serve these students. That means less seat time and more competency-based education.
One of the important contributions that Raymond has made in terms of our setting priorities for higher education in Texas is that he would direct the staff in developing our legislative appropriations request to really evaluate our programs to ensure that we're getting the results that we need in order to achieve the goals of our higher education strategic plan. So he has always said that doing business as usual is not going to help us achieve our goals. And so he's really challenged us to think outside of the box, to evaluate every dollar that we get from the taxpayers of the state, to ensure that we are using them efficiently and effectively for the benefit of students.
The Commissioner is a strong believer in the power of education, both before college and after college. And this was demonstrated when he first came to Texas, when he regularly went to every region of the state and said, students in every region deserve access to a high quality higher education. I don't care where you live. And he followed that since then with talking consistently about the importance of rigor, whether it's in a course or whether it's in a program. And I think some people don't see part of what's behind that, which is his strong belief in the power of many students to achieve at a high rate. And you need to set those expectations so they can demonstrate their true ability and also provide them with an education at the end that will really pay off for the rest of their life.
I want to share with you three things about Raymund Paredes, and hopefully also three of his favorite sayings that I won't forget. First of all, Raymond has a deep passion and concern for his home state, and in particular, the students of Texas, and I mean all students. Secondly, he is a results-driven person. If you can't measure it, if it's not based on data, he doesn't believe in pursuing it. And thirdly, Raymond is not one to tolerate complacency, neither within himself, his agency that he's led, or within the leadership of Texas, be that legislators, regents, community college presidents, or anyone else. Raymond has said over and over that Texas is getting better, but we're not getting better fast enough. That access without success, access without preparation, is neither opportunity nor results. And finally, he has warned educators, policymakers, and citizens alike to beware, always beware of the soft bigotry of low expectations. So Raymond, thank you for always having high expectations.
So Raymond-isms come in all forms and flavors and colors and sizes. But perhaps the most important is we are expanding higher education in Texas more quickly than the legislature is able or willing to support, putting us at risk of mediocrity. Now that really encapsulates everything the coordinating board is all about. It encapsulates what Governor Conley's concern was when he created the coordinating board. Because if you think about a pie that's not growing, the legislature unwilling to expand the pie at the level of growth that is required for excellence, and the more programs that come into the pie and divide the pie, the greater the mediocrity. And that Raymond-ism really is the governing principle of the coordinating board, of the coordinating board staff, and really the commissioner and what he's all about.
Raymond leaves a legacy that impacts many.
Hi, this is Governor Greg Abbott, and I want to say thank you to Raymund Paredes for your 15 years of service as Commissioner of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. You know, think about it. Students across the entire state of Texas have benefited from your commitment to the 60 by 30 plan, as well as for your work to increase access to education. Your leadership has been instrumental in improving the higher education system right here in Texas. And I want you to know, on behalf of a very grateful state, I thank you for your service and wish you all the very best.
I'm Judith Saffirini, State Senator for District 21 from Laredo, and it has been my very great pleasure and privilege to work with my friend, Dr. Raymund Paredes, while he has been our Commissioner of Higher Education. He has excelled in so many ways, but what I like about him is that regardless of what topic he discusses, accountability, accessibility, affordability, availability of higher education, he always stresses excellence, and he is always student-centered. Everything he talks about, everything he discusses, everything he reads, he perceives from the perspective of what is best for the student and for the parents of a particular student. What I really like about him on a personal basis is that he's a great grandfather. He loves Layla, he loves Julia, and I believe that since he became a grandfather, he became an even better Commissioner of Higher Education. Thank you, my friend, for everything you have done and everything you will continue to do.
Raymond, my friend, Dr. Paredes. You know, it's been a great ride with you, my friend, in terms of issues of higher education. I've learned a lot from you, and hopefully you've learned a few things from me in terms of higher education and making certain that it's accessible to all, whether you're from the barrio, the inner cities of San Antonio, Dallas, or you're from Westlake, Highland Park, all students being able to have access to quality higher education. You've worked in terms of making certain that we focused on financial aid, and when the state had only meager resources, that we prioritized who received financial aid and made certain that young people in the pipeline that began to use our Texas Grants programs had the resources in order to matriculate through our universities. We've also made certain that young people in community colleges had financial aid available to them also. You've used the resources that we've provided to you in a true fiduciary manner. We've not always agreed, we've disagreed, but we've been able to disagree without being disagreeable and continue to work towards making the state of Texas institutions of higher education what they ought to be. You have truly been a person that cared about the state of Texas, and you've discharged your duties to the fullest extent. My friend, as you get ready to go off to your next chapter in life, know that I call you a friend, that you have my telephone number, and that I'm always available to you, as I will make certain that I call you when I have issues that I need to run by you. And so I just wanted to say thank you, and I look forward to seeing and participating in the next chapter in your life.
He was always quoting some famous star, and Clint Eastwood was his favorite. And he would always say, "Go ahead, make my day." Or he would quote Humphrey Bogart, "Who's looking at you?" Or "Play it again, Sam." Or it was just, he's always a fun guy. And he used these movie things. He probably used them on me out of sympathy that I didn't read that many novels. So if he had used a novel quote, I wouldn't have recognized it. But we always had fun. We used to hang out. I used to go watch him play handball. And I do have one funny story about his handball. When he sort of has to reinvent himself, he's no longer a handball player. He said he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, he examined him and said, "Well, I have good news and bad news." He said, "Well, doctor, what's the good news?" He said, "The good news is that you have the heart and the body of somebody 30 years younger." He said, "Good God, that's great." He said, "What's the bad news?" He says, "Your knees are 90 years old." So he said, that was the end of my handball career, no more handball. But so it's one of these things that is, as many of us, sort of transformation into a new era, a new age. And he just shifted swiftly into the policy area. And I've just been really proud of him. He's done a lot for Texas. And he has seen and monitored and helped move a lot of good policy, good educational growth in this state. And I'm just know that all of us that know him well are saying, well, we're not surprised, and we're certainly proud. Well, Raymond, you always surprise me as you make these shifts into exciting careers. So, good luck in your next career, which I hear you're going to be a singer on a cruise ship or something like that. All the best.
It's truly been my honor and my privilege to have served with the Commissioner for the last 13 years as the General Counsel of the Coordinating Board. Those years have been eventful, demanding, rewarding, all rolled into one. Without any doubt, in my mind at least, the leadership, the vision shown by the Commissioner has been the foundation for positive changes made by the board. The Commissioners always seem to have known when to push forward and when to pull back. He's known when to be flexible, when to be firm, and now it appears he's knowing when it's time to move on after a legislative session. I don't think he could have asked for a better legislative session to go out on than the immediate past session.
I think what I'll miss most about working with the Commissioner is the moral authority that he's brought to the position. He's had a lot of disagreements with legislators, but at the end of the day, they've always recognized that he's somebody who's willing to speak truth to power, somebody who takes his job very seriously in representing students' interests, and somebody who's a straight shooter, so that even for those who might have a different perspective or might be pursuing a different policy, they understand that he's someone who is providing them honest, educated input so that they can take that into consideration.
Raymond, I just want to tell you what an absolute honor and privilege it's been to get to work with you at the coordinating board. The amount of things that I learned watching you, your style, how you work with people, your passion for higher education, your passion for the people you work with, and most importantly, the passion that you have for students is something that will make a lifetime impression on me. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate what you've done for this state, what you've done for students in this state, what you've done for the economy in this state, for the business community. Because we all know it all starts with education, and your passion for that is something that really will have a lasting impact on the entire state. I also want to tell you how much I learned just watching your leadership style, the way you lead, the way you work with people, the connection you make with them, the way you listen to them, and how you factor all of that in is something that I will always appreciate, and I really benefited from that time. So again, Raymond, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for what you've done for all of us that have worked at the coordinating board, but most importantly for students in this state. You've made it better for them, and for that, we are all appreciative.
Raymond, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the board for all you've done for us and all you've done for higher education. But I really want to say thank you for our relationship and what you've done for me in bringing me along from absolute ground zero in understanding higher education and all of its complexity to kind of mid-level, altitude. I would never, and I've continued to be impressed at your depth of knowledge, your understanding of subtlety, your understanding of politics. I'm not sure I'll ever get there, but thank you for trying to bring me along.
Thank you for the legacy that you've left the state of Texas and the young men and women who aspire to improve through higher education, but for your leadership and your passion. Would not have that opportunity, and your legacy will live on for many years to come. And I want to thank you in behalf of Sonia and I both. You just were not the commissioner to us. You were our friend and will always be our friend, and we wish you the best and in the future.
Raymond, on behalf of the staff at the coordinating board, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being such a great leader. And personally, for me, thank you for being such a great mentor. We'll miss you.
On behalf of all Raymond enthusiasts, thank you, Raymond, for your passion and your grit. You have greatly improved Texas higher education, making Texas a better place for all Texans.